What does Red Bull do when they've got Vries flopping at Alpha Tauri next to a crash-prone Tsunoda and a floundering Sergio Perez paired with Golden Boy Max Verstappen? Well, I'll tell you what they do. They send in their secret weapon, one they've been working on in the background. A kiss-stealing, wheeling-dealing, limousine-riding, jet-flying son of a gun. And he's going to have a hard time keeping those alligators down. Daniel Ricciardo is replacing Nick De Vries at Alpha Tauri mid-season. The stunning announcement was made this week, giving Danny Ric a week and a half to prep in the Alpha Tauri for his appearance in the Hungarian Grand Prix. After 5 years, Red Bull's prodigal son returns. In case you didn't know, Helmut Marko and the Red Bull fam do not have a problem dropping and swapping drivers. Nick De Vries is out for just over half a season for underperforming his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, which my theory is they brought in Nick, the former F2 champion, expecting him to kick the snot out of Yuki so they could cut Yuki and move on. Thing is, Nick couldn't beat him as quickly as Red Bull leadership expected him to. Now, were those unrealistic expectations? Oh, absolutely. I think that's pretty clear. I mean, Noodle Arm Nick couldn't even get out of the car when he stood in for Albon at the 2022 Italian Grand Prix. But regardless, he's out at AlphaTauri, and dear old Daniel Ricciardo is in. Ricciardo made a splash in 2009 when he tested for Red Bull Racing and earned himself a test and reserve spot for Toro Rosso. Racing for España Racing in 2011, his Formula One debut was at the 2011 British Grand Prix, Silverstone. His driving was so impressive, the Toro Rosso team signed him for 2012 and 13. Then he got the big call-up from the minors to the big leagues, replacing Mark Webber at Red Bull in 2014. With Red Bull, Ricciardo had 7 wins from 2014 to 18 with a total of 29 podiums. And for some reason, he thought the grass was greener on the other side. And in 2019, left for Renault and raced alongside Nico Hülkenberg before Esteban Ocon joined him there in 2020. Winning a total of 0 races with Renault and seeing the podium twice in 2 short years, he left for McLaren, where things got worse, albeit with a flash of talent. Because old Daniel Ricciardo, despite some pretty terrible struggles at McLaren, gave them their first win in years. I could be wrong, it might have been actually like 10 years for McLaren. So the talent was still there, buried down deep. The results of McLaren were dismal, and here's the rub.
It's time for the rub.
McLaren was and is focused on Lando Norris. Hard braking, hard acceleration, and at the time, Ricciardo wasn't doing that. He was scrubbing speed in the corners by turning the wheel and laying off the hard braking entirely. He was trying to be a smooth operator, and it did not work at all. The McLaren wants and needs to be driven hard. Lots of hard trail braking and quick acceleration in the exits. Wonder why they chose hard tires at the end of a certain British Grand Prix when everyone else was on softs? Now you know. But by 2022, Daniel Ricciardo was no more, a shell of his former self, if you will. And to avoid this channel being dropped mid-season like AlphaTauri dropping Nick De Vries, drop me a like and subscribe. I'm looking to do some more responsive content like post-race commentary, highlights, and deep dives. Actually, I'll put up a poll. Let me know what you think this week and what you think of me doing Monday post-race analysis. That'd be fun. Analyses. And if you're into F1 rants, diatribes, and randomness, follow me on Twitter. For all else, it's here at YouTube or Instagram for clips and adventures. And for us, we followed Daniel Ricciardo's exit out of Formula One last year, but not entirely. Former homies at Red Bull picked him up as their test and reserve driver, just like the old-timey days. Maybe there was something left in old Danny Ric after all. Maybe that spark is still in there, underneath that battered and broken spirit. Because by the end of 22, there wasn't a whole lot of bubbling personality left. At least, and this is just me talking, not a genuine one. Because what does a guy like him, with a job like that and a personality that draws in people, do when they just can't seem to do the only thing they know how to do? I'll tell you one thing, it certainly affects one's identity. And that's no joke. It seems to me the leadership at Red Bull could see through a lot of that. So they made the decision to bring him in. And when he got into the simulator for the first time as their reserve driver, they were stunned. His driving style was so out of whack, it was unrecognizable. Red Bull pulled up all of their old driving data on him, and it's like he was another person. Ricciardo was not Ricciardo. He needed a reset, like a robot or a college student that just entered the workforce. He needed a reboot, so that's what he and Red Bull did. He busted his ass in the simulator, giving them tons of critical data they needed through the beginning of the 23 season, until he was finally straightened out to no longer be a liability, but an asset, advancing Red Bull's gains for the 2024 season, which brings us to now. Sergio Perez, our beloved Mexican Minister of Defense, has fallen off a cliff. Yes, he's a stud with the ability to drive the wheels off anything under the right circumstances, but He's lost his mojo, finishing too far behind Verstappen regularly. He's spooked, got the yips, inconsistent race results race by race. His confidence is toast and exacerbated by a team that expects him to meet their expectations that are usually unrealistic. Now, what are Red Bull's expectations for Checo exactly? Probably higher than he's achieving now, and he knows it. And it's making things worse. But the thing about Checo is, whenever his seat is on the line, when it's genuinely on the line and it really matters, the man wins races. From last to first, in fact, he's done it before. And what better way to genuinely motivate him than with the threat of him losing his seat at Red Bull to the kiss-stealing, wheeling-dealing Daniel Ricciardo, who can be called up to that seat at a moment's notice, and everyone knows it. Might take some time for the Aussie legend to get back into form, but I'll tell you this much. We're either about to see Checo race like we've never seen him before, or it's going to be Max and Danny versus the world in 2024. Were you all surprised at the midseason announcement? I was. I had a feeling a shuffling was coming, but I didn't realize it would be like now. I'm posting the poll this week, so go in and vote. Thanks for coming by. Keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the next one.